Currently, the entire internet is spreading a rumor. The rumor claims that with a certain phone battery level, one will definitely find horror movies. I believes this is simply misleading children. I, however, believes that the moment a phone's battery is at that specific level, viewers will definitely come across content. Today, I presents a graphic, restricted horror movie. That afternoon, Karen comes to a factory warehouse. She applies for a night shift cleaning job. After briefly getting acquainted with the factory manager and learning which parts of the warehouse need thorough cleaning, Karen changes into her cleaning uniform and starts working. She first starts cleaning the restroom. She carries an ashtray and is about to leave. Unexpectedly, she runs into two of her colleagues. These two people look familiar. They are both good friends of Danny. The two men's attitude towards Karen is very hostile. They curse and say that Karen is no good because she divorced their good friend and does not know how to cherish him. Karen grits her teeth and endures, choosing not to stoop to their level. She thinks that their work schedules are different since they work the day shift. Soon, everyone in the warehouse leaves. Karen closes the main door. She starts cleaning. She cleans every nook and cranny. She tidies up both upstairs and downstairs. However, just as she goes out to take out the trash, she discovers in horror a car parked by the roadside, which seems extremely strange. She wonders who parks a car by the road late at night. She wonders if someone went to water plants. Karen does not think much of it and goes inside. Soon after, the phone rings. It is the nanny calling. The nanny says her daughter keeps crying. Karen is busy now, so the nanny asks if she should call the daughter's father to comfort her. Karen quickly tells the nanny not to call him. She tells the nanny to hand the phone to her, and she will comfort the daughter. After comforting her, she hangs up the phone. While Karen is in the restroom, a knock suddenly comes from the door. She wonders who it could be so late at night. It is a delivery man. One of Karen's two colleagues buys it. Karen asks them to leave it at the door, saying she will get it after she finishes her work. But the delivery person insists that she comes out to sign for it in person to prove the package is delivered to her, saying he does not want to be blamed if it gets lost later. After the package is delivered to Karen, the delivery person quickly leaves. Karen, however, feels that something is not right. She thinks the delivery person looks familiar. After placing the package on the table, Karen continues with her work. She works for a short while. Suddenly, she hears a creaking sound from the door again. The sound comes from this area. Karen turns on the light. As she walks in and looks, it is a false alarm. It is the broken wooden door of a small room. However, just as she calms down, she hears footsteps again. They come from the office next door. She finds the door opens and closes as she enters. After she goes out, she finds the door on the first floor opens and closes again. Someone clearly enters the warehouse. Karen starts looking around. The delivery man is the most suspicious. She wonders if the guy is playing a prank to scare her. While searching, Karen accidentally notices a package on the table. Driven by curiosity, she opens the package. When she looks inside, she gets terrified. A whistle blows. Four burly men wearing masks appear in different locations. Seeing that they mean trouble, Karen immediately panics. She immediately pulls out dish soap and throws it at the nearest intruder. Then she runs frantically. She immediately runs towards the shelves. This is a good place to evade and maneuver. She can use her small, agile body to weave through the shelves. But what Karen doesn't expect is that they are quite smart. They know how to flank her. This stab almost kills Karen. Then Karen continues to run, and they chased after them. She throws the goods off the shelf. She does a somersault and rolls over. She creates some distance from the intruder. She runs into another factory building. She pulls down the roller shutter door just in case. She also jams a small knife. But the opponents are many. They easily open the hinged door. At this moment, Karen is extremely panicked. The only door is also locked. The intruder also enters. Karen sees a small cart nearby. Thinking quickly, she gently pushes it forward, creating a noise and attracting the attention of the few people. Then she hides herself in an oil barrel. After the few people walk away, Karen crawls out and starts looking for an exit. She just sees a door. Coincidentally, the intruder happens to pass by and walks inside. However, this intruder is a bit clumsy. The pursuer does not see Karen. Karen quickly turns around and runs towards the opposite door. However, this door also appears to be locked. What is worse, an intruder next to her just kicks open a door. Coincidentally, he spots Karen. Karen embarks on another escape journey, being chased. However, she is a bit rushed this time. The rolling door does not open wide enough. As a result, while she squeezes through, the intruder grabs one of her feet. Her calf also gets a cut. However, Karen does not suffer a major loss. It is also the intruder's fault for being too greedy. he is not satisfied with just cutting Karen once and tries to pull her out. Karen abandons her bag. She then grabs a knife in that instant and stabs him. The injured Karen climbs onto the second floor shelves. Before the intruder can climb in, she quickly calls the police. But at the critical moment, Karen discovers her phone has fallen to the ground. If she goes to get it, these intruders have already entered. She can only stay put and think of a countermeasure before they discover her. The furious intruder first finds her phone and smashes it to pieces. After that, he cuts the nearby phone line. Then, they start to split up and search for Karen. Karen simply bandages the wound on her leg. Just then, an intruder comes up and walks towards Karen's location. What should she do? Should she surrender or jump down? Karen's wrist strength is also very great. I feels that she must have trained, like a retired Special Forces soldier. Her stability is very good, she supports her body using 2 nails. At the same time, it is also fortunate that the intruder has large feet, and he wears pointed-toe leather shoes, which perfectly cover Karen's fingers. After standing there and simply looking around, he does not find Karen. The intruder then leaves. However, Karen finds herself unable to hold on. She does not manage to come down before the intruder walks away. The noise she makes attracts their attention. Fortunately, he is called away. Karen's tense nerves finally relax temporarily. Afterward, Karen finds her dropped shoe and puts it on. At the same time, she sees a phone line that appears not to be cut. So she quickly and quietly goes over. But when she looks, at this moment, the lights turn on one by one. The clever intruder knows he is wearing a mask, his vision is poor, so he turns on all the lights. Karen, however, takes advantage of the situation and does the opposite. She directly turns off all the main lights, leaving only a few faint lights. Afterward, Karen finds a door locked with a chain. She wants to slip inside to play a reverse psychological trick. He thinks she is a frail, ordinary cleaner who struggles to pull a rolling shutter and surely has no ability to enter a locked door. But she aims to prove that if he thinks she cannot, then she will. After realizing she cannot get in, Karen applies some lubricant to her face, takes off her shirt, and starts to crawl inside. Just as half of her body gets inside, the intruder arrives, directly pulls Karen out, and throws her to the ground. The intruder then picks up a rope, preparing to tie her feet, but Karen picks up the baseball bat from the ground and immediately knocks him down. Karen is also in a hurry. While crawling through the shelves, she forgets to untie the rope tied to her leg. This causes the rope's hook to get stuck on a wooden board just as she is about to crawl out. However, Karen manages to break free in time and climbs back to the second floor shelves. She barely rests for long before the intruder chases after her again, sticking to her like a persistent rash. As Karen tries to run, the intruder directly grabs the rope and pulls her towards him. Our Karen is not to be trifled with. While untying the rope, she plays tug-of-war with the intruder. In the instant the rope is untied, she lets go. The foolish intruder directly falls down. His head hits the ground. He perishes on the spot. Karen walks closer. She lifts the mask and takes a look. She realizes it is her colleague from this morning, the one with long hair. She wonders why this man wants to chase and kill her. She thinks she does not owe him any money. Before she has time to think more, his companions are coming soon. Karen quickly moves the body away. Karen searches the intruder's pants pocket and finds a phone, but the phone is broken. Just as Karen feels discouraged, she looks up and sees a car nearby. She immediately gets an idea. Another intruder just finds Karen's discarded shirt. A sound comes from nearby. He follows the sound and looks, stunned. His companion is driving a forklift. He thinks they do not need to drive a forklift to look for Karen. On the other side, Karen climbs onto the second floor shelf again. Standing high, she sees far. At the same time, the other 3 intruders also see through her trick. And what is worse is, a wound on Karen's leg accidentally drips some blood. The intruder sees it. Karen is discovered again. She embarks on another escape. However, this time, she faces difficulty. The intruder surrounds her, attacking from both the front and back. Karen drills into the lowest shelf and plays a game of hide-and-seek with them. She crosses a layer of shelves, finally jumps to the first floor, and runs wildly. The intruder, after hearing the commotion, follows closely behind. Finally, Karen hides in the restroom. Just as she tries to lock the door, the intruder catches up. He keeps banging on the door, causing Karen to be unable to lock it. Moreover, the strength difference between the two is too great, so Karen can only lie down and firmly brace the door with her feet. This provides the intruder with an opportunity. He grabs Karen's foot. However, Karen luckily takes a plunger and hits his hand back. Afterward, Karen stands up, wanting to continue her counterattack. Unexpectedly, the intruder directly grabs the plunger, and the door clamps down. Karen pulls, and the plunger breaks. The foolish intruder comes in like a headless fly and happens to hit the broken part. The wooden stick directly pierces his chest. But it is not deep enough, so Karen finishes him off. The intruder endures the severe pain, pulls out a knife from his pocket, and directly slashes at Karen's stomach. At the same time, the intruder also cannot hold on much longer. Karen takes this opportunity, goes up, pushes hard inwards, and finally takes care of the intruder. Now, 2 intruders are left. Afterwards, Karen walks out, dragging her injured body. She simply bandages the wound on her stomach. Judging by her bandaging technique, it is not simple. Just then, the other 2 intruders follow the scent, see the bloodstains on the ground, and deduce that Karen must be nearby. Karen doesn't run far. She is drenched in sweat, and her hair stands on end. She knows it is over if they discover her. But luckily, they do not check under the table. They assume Karen is not here. They discuss where Karen might be. It is at this moment that Karen wants to secretly take the keys from the intruder's body. She thinks one of them must open the door. But the intruder keeps wandering around aimlessly, so Karen cannot get them. If the intruder were not wearing a mask, he would definitely see Karen with his peripheral vision. After the intruder leaves, Karen also comes out. She starts to counterattack again. She sees the wire next to her. A plan forms in her mind. She ties the wire to the shelf. She then attracts the intruder, making him chase her like a mad dog. Finally, the wire directly neutralizes and takes away the intruder. Karen simply searches his body. She finds keys on his body. She is about to leave, but Karen returns. She puts on the intruder's clothes. She disguises herself as one of them. This way, they will not be able to find her. She can try the keys one by one to open the door. On the way, she encounters another intruder. Because the distance is too far, that intruder does not see any flaws. The 2 exchange greetings. He tells her to go that way. After seeing the intruder leave, Karen returns again. Unexpectedly, this intruder is a bit smart and seems to sense something is wrong. He remains cautious. Just as Karen opens the door and is about to escape, he follows her and goes in with Karen. The intruder chokes Karen's neck. He takes out a knife and aims it at her. The intruder chokes someone with one hand and holds a knife with the other. Karen, on the other hand, has both hands free. She thinks her 2 hands are stronger than his one hand. Karen directly grabs that hand and bites down on it. This causes the intruder immense pain, and the knife in his hand drops. Karen picks up the rope from the ground, directly chokes the intruder from behind, and finally finishes him off. At this moment, the phone in the intruder's pocket rings. Karen picks it up and cannot believe her eyes. It is a call from Danny. Karen suddenly realizes that Danny orchestrated this 4-on-1 murder, intending to kill her. Soon after, Danny arrives wearing a mask. Karen quickly escapes and locks the main door. As she opens another door, Danny chases after her and shoves Karen to the ground. He then starts to overpower Karen. As for Danny, he cruelly cripples Karen's 2 hands. His purpose for doing this is very simple. He wants to contend for custody with Karen. Danny has severe violent tendencies. He usually drinks heavily and commits domestic violence, so Karen divorces him. She believes the child cannot follow him. Danny is very angry and uses this extreme method to make her disappear, thereby regaining custody of his daughter. Just as Danny prepares to get rid of Karen, his daughter arrives at the critical moment. Danny plans to get rid of Karen and then drive away with his daughter. However, his daughter unexpectedly gets out of the car. He realizes she absolutely cannot see this scene. So Danny quickly carries his daughter and locks her in a room. It is during this time that Karen begins to prepare her counterattack. She takes a pile of unknown items, which are likely chemical substances, and mixes them together. Then she creates a false impression and lures Danny into a room. Then she throws the prepared items inside and closes the door. Karen prepares a scarf. After that, Karen opens the door. The gas emanating from inside overwhelms Danny, and he runs out like a headless fly to breathe fresh air. Karen seizes this opportunity and smashes Danny's head with a hammer. However, Danny wears a mask, which somewhat reduces the damage. He knocks down Karen and then escapes. When Karen looks for him again, he is already gone. Seeing her daughter calling for help, Karen ignores him and goes to save her daughter first. But just then, her husband, who fights unfairly, ambushes Karen. Luckily, Heaven helps her. In her panic, Karen feels a small knife. She cuts open the plastic wrap. But the bad thing is, just as she breathes fresh air and before she can recover, Danny pushes her down. After that, Danny walks up and chokes her neck. At this moment, Karen notices that Danny foolishly has not pulled the hammer from his head. Karen, out of good intentions, directly pulls the hammer out for him. It hurts Danny terribly. Now Karen is in a dominant position, facing Danny's pleas for mercy. She shows no mercy at all. She knows Danny's true nature. She then directly uses the hammer to take him out. She then rescues her daughter. The sky coincidentally brightens. This marks Karen winning this counter kill against the villain, a complete victory in breaking free from the shackles of violence. The movie ends here. This movie might have some illogical parts and some bugs, and the protagonist's plot armor is quite strong. However, this type of chase and counter-kill genre is all about the thrill, emphasizing a satisfying ending, simply for the excitement. Alright, see you next time.